All right, guys, it's time. Hello, greetings. It feels like it's been so long. So much holiday to happen since last year. Wow. All right, how's the sound going? Let me rearrange my screen here. Finding the perfect balance where I can see the chat and adjust everything. Okay, yes. Happy New Year, guys. Thank you. Ruth, glad you're home in time. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Yeah, gotta have the leaf, you know? I still gotta stock up and get even more. But for now, it'll have to do. Yes. I'm just catching up on some of John's other videos. Pride and Prejudice, you know? First time classics. Pretty excellent. Great question. Do I remember how it ended? You know, I think I do. But it's been so long since book 4. It's tough. Is that true that in all of book 5 we didn't talk to Frodo and Sam? That's pretty interesting. Oh yeah, not idly do the leaves of Lorien fall. So true. Um, it feels like book 4 ended with Frodo being carried off to the tower of Cirith Ungol. Is it the Tower of Cirith Ungol, or do they call it something else? Um, and Sam just was calling himself dumb. How could you? I should have known. And he's feeling bad um, that he kind of left Frodo there thinking he was dead. I don't think that's much to feel bad about. How could he have known the effects of giant spider venom? But in my memory, that's where it ended. Did he even come up to the door to the tower? Was he in a tunnel chasing the orcs and getting to the door? Did they interact briefly? Sounds like I need to go back and check. Ruth, you nailed it. Frodo's alive, taken by the enemy, and Sam knows it, and that's just about there. Um, so I'm going to actually see exactly how it ended, just as a little refresh. I feel like usually I let the intro loop run for like 5 minutes, but I was eager, so I did it a little early. And I don't know how many other people are going to join on such a last minute thing, but I'm eager to get into more of the story. You know, there's so much to read. I can hardly wait. All right, Shelobs. Ooh, the choices of Master Samwise. My summary of the chapter: Shelob got Frodo. Sam got Shelob. Sam got Ring. Orcs got Frodo. Sam realized Frodo was alive from listening to the orcs' conversation. Sam got locked out of the tower. Yes, okay. So he was kind of chasing them down. The sword, however, blazed so brightly now that he could see dimly in its light. Oh, wow. Yeah, I never even thought about that. That becomes a light in unfortunate situations of being close to orcs. Heavy door, twice his own height. Oh, dark blank space between the top and the low arch. Because the door was really just to stop Shelob. They weren't really concerned about hobbits in such a place. With his remaining strength, he leapt and caught the top. So he can jump more than twice his height. Respect. He's got hops. And then he's trying to catch up. And he kind of hears them talking about what they're going to do with Frodo. Yeah, and this is so weird to get more insight on orc interactions. They feel weirdly normal. All right, put him in the top chamber, just like the movie. Oh my, I forgot how it ended actually. Oh, okay. Sam heard a burst of horse singing, blaring horns. He yelled, brandished sting. His little voice was drowned out. No one heeded him. The great doors slammed to. Boom. Bars of iron fell into place inside. Clang. Gate was shut. Sam hurled himself against the bolted brazen plates and fell senseless to the ground. He was out in the darkness. Frodo was alive, but taken by the enemy. Okay, so I guess there were multiple gates, and he actually is locked out of this one. Glad I did a little refresh. That's a good idea. Whoever suggested that. Yeah, Sam's still on the outside. Truly a bonk. Nasty soldiers or bad cops. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. And I'm glad we can think of them as truly evil, but I can't help it when I hear them interacting. Sometimes I'm like, oh, is there hope for redemption there? Could there ever be? I don't know. But I don't think so. I think Tolkien answered that question, and I'm trying to think of them differently. Sometimes I'm a softie. Sometimes I'm not. Beer of the day, for anyone who cares. Heady Topper from The Alchemist, Vermont. A trailblazing beer in its day. And it still holds up. I've done some goblet experimenting recently. Oh, wow. Don't you spill. Don't you spill. But none are better than this one. Another pewter one, but then kind of looked a little puny. And then another one was decent, but then I couldn't confirm that it was lead-free pewter. So I'm not trying to get lead poisoning when I've got a perfectly great goblet right here. Then I found a cool one that I thought might work well, like Hobbit style. Something you'd see at the Green Dragon, or the Prancing Pony, or wherever Legolas and Gimli were having their drink off. That was in Rohan, right? Yeah. And I thought it would work, but then the more I looked at it, I thought, no, it's not quite there. It felt too polished. Where I wanted something more gritty, like you'd really find it out there. It can be a little bit nice, but not too nice. It's just, I'm looking for a very specific vibe. I'm a thrift store guy, so that's where I look for these things, in thrift stores. And eventually, I'm going to find the right one. All right. I've got my map up. I found a new map, middleearthmap.app. And I like it because you can zoom in a little bit more than the other interactive one. The interactive one gave me some flag when I tried to open it saying that they could steal my information. It's like not restricted website or something. So I didn't want to mess with that. I don't want any unlocked, non-secure websites. And this new one, decent. It's no Chris Tolkien map, don't get me wrong, but I like the way it interacts. Okay. I'm all caught up on the chat. I think anyone who was planning on being here in such short notice is here. If anyone's falling asleep, I'll try not to react too harshly to anything with loud noises. And hopefully this gives you good Middle-earth dreams. The Tower of Cirith Ungol. Sam roused himself painfully from the ground. For a moment, he wondered where he was, and then all the misery and despair returned to him. He was in the deep, dark outside, the undergate of the orc stronghold. Its brazen doors were shut. He must have fallen stunned when he hurled himself against them. But how long had he lain there? Ooh, he did not know. Then he had been on fire, desperate and furious. Now he was shivering and cold. He crept to the doors and pressed his ears against them. Yeah, I like that comparison. He was on fire. He was furious. He was ready to go. He probably would have been rash and made some unwise decisions if he was able to get through. So I'm going to say this shivering cold that cooled him down might actually have saved his life. So not so bad that it gives him a second to reanalyze what he's up to, and how he's going to approach the rest of this situation. The downside, obviously many downsides, but the big one is he has no clue how long it's been. That's a tough spot to be, because he is genuinely worried about Frodo. He has no clue how much time he has, and I'm just trying to put myself in his mindset, understanding that desperation. Hopefully he can muster that back up, even though he's got a little more wisdom in this. Hopefully now, without the fury. Oh yeah, so all right, you're right. This is not a good chapter for good Middle Earth dreams. Falling asleep, for all you Europeans, falling asleep to this because it's so late might not give you the warm fuzzies. Fair point. Okay, far within, he could hear faintly the voices of orcs clamoring, but soon they stopped or passed out of hearing, and all was still. His head ached and his eyes saw phantom lights in the darkness, but he struggled to steady himself and think. It was clear at any rate that he had no hope of getting into the orc hold by that gate. Whoa. He might wait there for days before it was opened, and he could not wait. Time was desperately precious. He no longer had any doubt about his duty. He must rescue his master or perish in the attempt. So true. Love the enthusiasm. But he's thinking about going to another gate. I mean, I guess if you know there's no getting in, can you just knock harder and hope someone opens? No, it's foolish. But isn't it also foolish to try and go around to another gate? Are there other passages, or does he have to get up to the surface and try to go in that way? Oh, man. Or perish in the attempt. The perishing is more likely and will be a lot easier anyway. Wow, he said grimly to himself as he sheathed Sting and turned from the brazen doors. Slowly, he groped his way back in the dark along the tunnel, not daring to use the elven light. Oh, okay, not daring to use the elven light. This feels like a decent time to use it. And as he went, he tried to fit together the events since Frodo and he had left the crossroads. All right, little reflection. He wondered what the time was. Somewhere between one day and the next, he supposed. But even of the days, he had quite lost count. He was in a land of darkness where the days of the world seemed forgotten and where all who entered were forgotten too. He's feeling the bleakness. He is thinking death is more likely and a lot easier. That is a killer line. He's kind of like, well, no big deal. I think that a part of him is it's so daunting that he's expecting and accepting death at this point. And I'm not going to say looking forward to it, but he's saying at least all this worry will be gone, maybe on some level. Weird. Yeah, this, because it's a Middle-earth nightmare. That's why. I wonder if they think of us at all. Absolutely they do. Very often, assuming he's talking about the rest of the Fellowship. And what is happening to them all there, all away there? And I guess he's finally thinking of them. I feel like we haven't heard them reference the rest of the Fellowship that much. So it also is interesting for them to be thinking back, but they're always going through so much. It's so stressful. I feel like they haven't had the peaceful moments that the rest of the Fellowship has had. Although the time jump, I'm not totally positive about all that, because the crossroads, so the battle and timing, the battle's kind of happening right now in Minas Tirith. Okay. He waved his hand vaguely in the air before him, but he was in fact now facing southwards as he came back to Shelob's tunnel, not west. Out westward in the world, it was drawing to... Oh, like he didn't even realize he was facing the wrong way when he was thinking about out west. Is that what that's saying? I wonder what's happening to them all away there. But he wasn't even facing their direction. He was facing south because he doesn't know what any of the directions are in this dark tunnel. Out westward in the world, it was drawing to noon upon the 14th day of March. Pi Day. Noon upon the 14th day of 314 in the Shire reckoning. And even now Aragorn was leading the Black Fleet from Pelargir, and Merry was riding with the Rohirrim down the Stonewain Valley. Oh, okay, yeah. That's good. So the battle is kind of starting. Rohan's not there yet. Love that we're getting this timing. While in Minas Tirith, flames were rising, and Pippin watched the madness growing in the eyes of Denethor. Yet amid all their cares and fears, the thoughts of their friends turned constantly to Frodo and Sam. They were not forgotten, but they were far beyond aid. Well, beyond direct aid, maybe. And no thought could yet bring any help to Samwise Hamfast's son. He was utterly alone. All right, yeah, true, at this stage. But as we know, the Black Gate, they're still going to make their attempt. He came back at last to the stone door of the Orc Passage, and still unable to discover the catch or bolt that held it, he scrambled over as before. Even from the inside, he couldn't figure it out. Is it magic? Is there orc magic? Because aren't orcs sort of elfish sometimes, partly? I don't know. And dropped softly to the ground. Then he made his way stealthily to the outlet of Shelob's tunnel, where the rags of her great web were still blowing and swaying in the cold air. For cold they seemed to Sam, after the noisome darkness behind, but the breath of them revived him. He crept cautiously out. All was ominously quiet. The light was no more than that of dusk at a dark day's end. The vast vapors that arose in Mordor and went streaming westward passed low overhead. A great welter of cloud and smoke now lit again beneath the sullen glow of red. All right, lit beneath with the sullen glow of red. So I'm thinking Mount Doom, we got volcanic glow off of the clouds. Vapors that arose. So, vapors that arose. I'm just trying to picture it all. Like, is there some kind of evil river that's getting steamed up by some of this lava and causing some of this cloud, steam, vapors, as it is said? It's certainly ominous, though. Not painting a very good picture. And the fear of Shelob is real. Not a lot of comfort there. Yes, so true. Ash from the volcano. Ooh, even worse. You could breathe that stuff in. Sounds terrible. But also, I guess, more ominous. Wow, you're right. The dark clouds. Yeah. In book 5. That's great. Sylvia, you love this chapter. Well, let's see what you love about it. So far, I just feel bad for Sam. Sam looked up towards the Orc Tower, and suddenly, from its narrow windows, lights starred out like small red eyes. He wondered if they were some signal. Okay, so lights, window lights, like red eyes, but they look like a signal. His fear of the orcs, forgotten for a while, in his wrath and desperation, now returned. Fear's back, and as far as he could see, there was only one possible course for him to take. He must go on and try to find the main entrance to the dreadful tower. But his knees felt weak, and he found that he was trembling. Drawing his eyes down from the tower and the horns of the cleft before him, he forced his unwilling feet to obey him, and slowly, listening with all his ears, peering into the dense shadows of the rocks beside the way, he retraced his steps past the place where Frodo fell, and still the stench of Shelob lingered, and then on and up until he stood again in the very cleft where he had put on the ring and seen Shagrat's company go by. There he halted and sat down. For the moment he could drive himself no further. good spot to gather his thoughts. He actually knew that this little hidden place existed. Okay. He felt that if once he went beyond the crown of the pass and took one step veritably down into the land of Mordor, that step would be irrevocable. He could never come back. Without any clear purpose, he drew out the ring and put it on again. What? Wait, put it on again. Wait, did he have this on before? And I'm totally forgetting that? Goodness, this is important stuff. Without a clear purpose. So that's striking me because it's like some weird deep instinct that to me the ring is giving him. He's like, oh, I'm a little scared. You know what's comforting? Ooh, ring. He drew out the ring and put it on. All right, I gotta reference back. When he was listening to the orcs conversation. Thank you, Sarah. So I'm gonna go take a peek at that just so I can remember the details because it's still blowing my mind. I think I'm blocking it out because in my mind that doesn't feel possible. Obviously it is possible, but just the way that it was portrayed in the movies, it feels like crazy that Sam could carry the ring to share the load. And then he does take it off of Frodo, but I feel like it's almost presented, and my headcanon is almost like I was viewing it that if he put it on, for one, Sauron would immediately know where they are. His eye would just be like ring stuff happening. And then it also felt like Sam would be torn apart by it on some level. I don't know exactly why. All right, so let me see. He bent his own neck, put the chain upon it, and at once his head bowed to the ground to the weight of the ring. Oh, and then, man, so bad. I literally circled it. On the next page here in Choices of Master Samwise. This is probably the big choice that the chapter title is talking about. The orc company appeared in the cleft right before him. Then he put it on. I circle it. I say, whoa, with a bunch of exclamation points. Not in the movie. The world changed, and a single moment of time was filled with an hour of thought. My goodness, how did I forget this? This is so great. At once he was aware that hearing was sharpened, while sight was dimmed. Guys, this is so bad. How do I not remember all this? Because this is like what Frodo was talking about a little bit, like the sight dimming, like when Sam was lowering him. Was that the Emyn Mule? They're like going through the rocks and they were lowering him, and then at some point he felt like he was blind almost, or like couldn't see very much. Wasn't that kind of ring related, either from wearing it or from exposure to it? But hearing was sharpened. And then I'm also confused because at times, didn't Frodo say that he could see better than all else except Legolas? Or was that hearing? Clearly, I got memory issues. Wow. All things about him now were not dark, but vague. While he himself was there in a gray haze world, alone like a small black solid rock, and the ring, weighing down his left hand, was like an orb of hot gold. He did not feel invisible at all, but was horribly and uniquely visible, and he knew that somewhere an eye was searching for him. All right, glad I went to check that out. Got to keep that in mind as we proceed here. Whoa. Sauron can't necessarily see when the ring is worn, at least not when it's worn outside of Mordor. Ooh, interesting. Because he's technically outside of Mordor, because he's talking about this crest, and over the hill is when he would be in Mordor, and he feels like he'll never be able to come back from that on some level. All right, thank you, Cordy, making me feel a little better. I'm sure I'll miss a lot, and that's why a second read is going to be awesome. I wonder when that's going to be, because there's so much other Lord of the Rings content that now I have to get through. I say have to. It's not a burden. It's quite the opposite. But then I got to go back, and I'm excited to read Harry Potter again for the second time, and John's picking out all sorts of books that now make me intrigued. So, Brandon Sanderson, Game of Thrones, many options. but I do know one thing. I'm going to be coming back to read this. Little side note, my sister's boyfriend, Matt, he is reading Lord of the Rings for the first time. He has never seen the movies. He was kind of against them because he's read a lot of other fantasy books, and I'll have to ask him again, but I think he was a bit of a fantasy snob or something. And he was saying it like, oh, I don't want to watch them. They're too mainstream, and I don't think I like them, and for whatever reasons. And then he kind of just avoided them and was a little against them. And he always thought, I've got to read the books first. But he never had time. It's a big undertaking. I think he wanted the books to be done in the right context. So I started reading them. I like to think I had some role to play in him reading them. And he's halfway through Two Towers right now. I have to pick his brain. I said, you know what? We're going to sit down. We're going to film some of this because I'm fascinated. I'm sure some of you guys would be. How did someone get this far in life without being exposed to the movies or the books? And he knows a little bit about the end, and he was talking about Frodo and some of the conclusion just based on what he's heard in pop culture and whatever. But he doesn't know any of the specifics. He doesn't know if the movie's different from the books. He's never seen them. He doesn't know any of the other details. He doesn't know anything about Aragorn or Legolas or Gimli or that storyline at all. It's pretty much Frodo's the only character he knows pre-books. So he's kind of excited about the whole thing. And anyway, I want to pick his brain to hear what he thinks about the story and the characters halfway through, especially before he does the movie, because then I want to see of this generation, of my generation, it's rare that someone has read the books before the movies. So I want to be able to pick their brain on how the movies feel post-book. Anyway, so if anyone has any questions you think I should be asking him, let me know, because I'm just fascinated by that idea, and I don't know how to pull out all of the gems in there that I want to extract from his brain as he goes through this experience. But I'm sure there are tons of hidden gems about characters or how he pictures the world, because that's huge. I say we because I assume most people here, it was movies first, then books, right? So the movies determined a lot of what I picture. I'm so fascinated at how something might be pictured from his perspective if he doesn't have the movies to fill in his brain, even subconsciously at times. Whoa, Julie, great family rule. You had to read the books first to see the movies. That sounds like the kind of rule that would exist for all movies, not just Lord of the Rings, right? Unless your parents were like big fans. But love that idea. If you read the books, then you can watch the movies. We'll go watch together, whatever. That's cool. Wow. Oh, you were? Oh, Anna, how is this possible? All you guys books first? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that people like you are out there. My goodness, and Ruth too. Guys, no wonder you're such big fans, because you had the purity of the books unspoiled by the movies. That's great. But interesting. So even though the books are first, Sylvia, you're saying the movies, they colored the reading even after the fact. Makes sense, because once you see them, how do you go back? Sarah, your family didn't watch the movies? Did other people in your family read the books too? Or was it just you? Or were you all just like, no, we're not supporting those movies? What are you, crazy? I'm just so proud of all of you. All movies were like that. That's a great rule. I wonder if I should do that for my son. Read the book first, do a little quiz. I feel like that's a better way to do it. No movies. Pictures of the movies on the cover of the books. That is pretty funny. Reading books post movie that are branded after the movie, but you're like, no, it's gonna be books only for us. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, Mr. Sam the Man. Books first in 97. Very impressive. Because yeah, that I'm a little jealous. I'm even a little jealous that my first time I thought about reading the books, I was too young to appreciate them. But looking back, little middle school me would have been quite a cultured fellow if I had said, I'm going to push my way through these books and enjoy them before the movies because I saw The Fellowship and loved it. And then knew that it was a book and thought, oh, I want to go read that book. And that's when I tried, I think, the first time, and did not get through it. So you guys, better than I. Whoa, the never-ending story. Nice, nice. Oh, wow, Cordy. So you're saying now it's like you're rewatching, in my head, is rereading. You're saying, I saw the movies once. Great. Enjoy it when they were in theaters. Now it's been years because you just keep going back to, you know, the books, the good stuff. The movies made you want to read the books. So true. That's how it was for me too. Yeah, exactly. I don't think I had ever heard of the books. I think maybe vaguely. One of my good friends, David and Timmy, we would carpool to school together. Their dad had read them many times. And I knew that he read a series many times, but I didn't know what it was. It, like, to me, it was just some like nerdy book series that older people read. It was from like a long time ago. I don't know how I pictured it, but that's the idea I had. Like something so lofty, I could never possibly read it. Like it just felt like something you do when you are older in your career, or when you're retired, you sit down and read these old books. I don't know what I pictured. But in hindsight, he was crushing it, and I should just listen to him, and I would have been ahead of schedule, enjoying these books for years before movie time. I'm just thinking, is it possible to capture such a thing in a child's format? Could you dumb these down, no offense, to 7-year-old enjoyment, 10-year-old enjoyment, 12-year-old enjoyment? And then at what age is someone primed to be able to properly enjoy this? Obviously, generalizations in age. I don't feel that I could have enjoyed this properly until college or later, based on my own maturity and ability to process literature. So I'm curious if there are any other versions that might be a little, an abridged version that might be a little easier to stomach for the non-readers out there. Wow. You know what? That's exactly what you should do. You read or you watch The Fellowship and say, I love this thing. I'm going to go back and catch all the way up. Yeah, you're right. You're right. 8 years old, you might be able to do The Hobbit, especially the one that I did with the pictures. 13, impressive, Sarah, for reading Lord of the Rings. I was nowhere close. And you're right, Atan, don't dumb them down. I understand what you're saying. Maybe just wait till the proper time. Reading the Silmarillion. I'm excited. It's on the way. I got it for Christmas, Silmarillion. My brother and sister-in-law got me the Silmarillion and one other book. Oh, a kid's book a friend of mine wrote. So both are in the mail, and when it arrives, excited because I think that's going to be next. I'll consult with John. But yeah, reading to little Calvin, I might be able to read the books to him. You know what? Correct me here. Was it The Hobbit that J.R.R. wrote to be a bedtime story on some level for Christopher? Or was it all of them? Or did it warp over time, even though originally it might have been with that in mind? Because I could definitely see The Hobbit making for a good little bedtime story as part of the routine. Parts of Lord of the Rings, I definitely could see it. The violence goes quickly. Even the despair, you could get through a chapter and say, I know it was heavy, lots to discuss. Okay, that was The Hobbit. All right, so I think there is hope. Yeah, not for a bit. Oh, I want Calvin to be on his 4th time through the book by the time he's speaking. So it's going to be great timing for him. We have a lot of bedtime stories, but I don't know if any are of this caliber. So he was literally telling the story of The Hobbit, and then wrote it later. Incredible. I guess my dad should have been writing down the bedtime stories he was telling us about Tommy, Susie, and Bobo, the homeless child that they found in the Museum of Natural History. Great bedtime story. I'm not so sure it's at the level of Lord of the Rings, but as a kid, I loved it. So anyway, back to it, guys. Here we go. Sam is putting on the ring again. Let me just make sure I catch my place. Without any clear purpose, he drew out the ring and put it on again. Immediately, he felt the great burden of its weight and felt afresh, but now more strong and urgent than ever, the malice of the eye of Mordor, searching, trying to pierce the shadows that it had made for its own defense, but which now hindered it in its unquieted doubt. So it put up Mordor as a whole. Sauron puts up this defensive kind of shadow, and it actually makes it harder for the eye to seek out the ring. Interesting. Shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. Fascinating that Sam is feeling this weight more strong and urgent than ever. He's feeling the emotions that Sauron is feeling. That is crazy. I'm trying to think when Frodo last put the ring on, because Sam has now worn the ring closer to Mordor than Frodo. So is he feeling the most extreme feelings so far, or the time that Frodo had the ring made his feelings more extreme because they compound a little? Not totally sure on that one. Ooh, appendices have some Hobbit spoilers? Whoa. Whoa, are you kidding me? So after this, before the appendices, go back, do The Hobbit, then appendices, then Silmarillion? Wow. All right. I like that. Glad someone made that suggestion. That's a cool thing, John. All right. I love that idea. And good warning. I was starting to get a little excited about the appendices. I gotta just decide how I'm gonna pronounce a word and then just keep doing it. Oh yeah, in book 5, the darkness helped the Rohirrim slip the army. Yeah, and at that time, I think we said something like, I'm forgetting if the text said it directly or if this was just kind of implied. There's an urgency, a rushing, that Sauron is kind of making moves without fully thinking them through. And it's those moves that are causing this issue. Like if Sauron was not getting so frantic about the ring or Aragorn or whatever else, some of these moves would have been better. It wouldn't have been so quick and frantic and block things off and accidentally make it harder to see and cloud things and, kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. I want a very cold read. And, we might be able to break down the appendices if we felt like it, and we could say, well, you can read this one, you can read that one, but don't read this other one. But we probably don't have to do that. Maybe we could just say, yeah, we already know The Hobbit. It's just been a while. So it won't be the same. It's not like we're really getting spoilers. It's just, do we want to go back to The Hobbit as a colder read, or do we want to just say, well, it's been, we know the story enough that we could read the appendices without worrying about that spoiler. So QWERTY says straight through, go to The Hobbit later. That way it makes more sense. No big deal either way. Okay. True. The Army of the Dead in the dark. Double whammy. Yeah, and you're right. Not a whole lot of the big revelations for The Hobbit. It's not a big deal. I don't care too much about spoilers for The Hobbit because I feel like I know it all, even if I haven't read it in a while. So it might just enhance the experience. And probably not a big deal, but I'm also not opposed to going back and doing The Hobbit, then the appendices, and then Silmarillion or whatever else is next. Okay. As before, Sam found that his hearing was sharpened, but that to his sight the things of this world seemed thin and vague. The rocky walls of the path were pale, as if seen through a mist, but still at a distance he heard the bubbling of Shelob in her misery, no way, and harsh and clear and very close it seemed, not good. Well, hopefully just seemed close, not close, but bubbling? He sprang to his feet and pressed himself against the wall beside the road. He was glad of the ring, for here was yet another company of orcs on the march, or so at first he thought. Then suddenly he realized that it was not so. His hearing had deceived him. The orc cries came from the tower, whose topmost horn was now right above him, on the left hand of the cleft. Topmost horn was right above him? So he's actually having a hard time perceiving the depth or the distance of things because his hearing is so good. Sam shuddered and tried to force himself to move. There was plainly some devilry going on. Perhaps in spite of all orders, the cruelty of the orcs had mastered them, and they were tormenting Frodo, or even savagely hacking him to pieces. He listened, and as he did, a gleam of hope came to him. He can hear Frodo, can't he? There could not be much doubt. There was fighting in the tower. The orcs must be at war among themselves. Shagrat and Gorbag had come to blows. Faint as was the hope that his guest brought him, it was enough to rouse him. There might be just a chance. His love for Frodo rose above all other thoughts, and forgetting his peril, he cried aloud, "I'm coming, Mr. Frodo." I love that. Forgetting his peril. He's going back into the his fire again, you know? I love that he's forgetting his peril, but don't get too feisty. I can't be slow and steady. Sometimes you got to do it. There are actual things at stake, and he understands that. He's going to take his chance. He ran forward to the climbing path and over it. At once the road turned left and plunged steeply down. He's over the crest. Sam had crossed into Mordor. He took off the ring. Moved, it may be, by some deep premonition of danger, though to himself he thought only that he wished to see more clearly. Better have a look at the worst, he muttered. No good blundering about in a fog. This is weird. I like it. It's fascinating because, again, I'm trying to form what is the ring doing and what effect does it have? But this feels almost the opposite of what it was originally. He put the ring on almost without thinking. He just, almost like an instinct. Oh, I'm scared? Ring, comfort, better. Like the ring almost felt like a comfort to him, like a safety mechanism because he didn't want to be exposed. But now it's weird that he's getting the same kind of instinct. It's comforting to have it off. He just says, it moved, it may be, by some deep premonition of danger. So, again, it feels like some kind of instinct. He's like, ooh, I'm in Mordor now. I probably don't want to do this. Ooh, I want to see more clearly now. Like, it feels better to have the ring off. He can see more clearly. He's not in a fog, he says. Strange that the ring had the power, or it seems the ring gave him this little thing of, put me on. So what was this premonition of danger? Hard and cruel and bitter was the land that met his gaze. Before his feet, the highest ridge of the Ethel Duath fell steeply in great cliffs down into a dark trough, on the further side of which there rose another ridge, much lower, its edge notched and jagged, with crags like fangs that stood out black against the red light behind them. It was the grim Morgai of the inner ring of the fences of the land. Far beyond it, but almost straight ahead, across a wide lake of darkness dotted with tiny fires, there was a great burning glow, and from it rose in huge columns a swirling smoke, dusty red at the roots, black above where it had merged into the billowing canopy that roofed in all the accursed land. Yikes. All right, seems like I'm trying to tell where he is now. Yeah, he's got to be up here. I'm looking at the map. The map's not showing a lot of this in the specific details. All right, Sarah, you got to sleep. Don't have Middle-earth nightmares from this chapter. That's funny. The entire book we're reading is spoilers for The Hobbit. Yeah, totally true. There are other forces at work beside the forces of evil. That's what I was thinking, but what forces? My mind immediately goes Galadriel. I feel like Elrond, Mr. Half-Elven, I think of him as not being that involved. Or if he is, it's like from physical things and a little bit of direct help. But Galadriel, she feels like she's doing high-level stuff, sending little signals out across Middle-earth. And she's given them gifts. Does he still have his string, his rope? And he has the light. So these are all pluses. And I feel like that could be a force of good. And there are other forces than that. Okay. Sam was looking at Erodruin, the Mountain of Fire. Oh, is that another name for Mount Doom? Erodruin, the Mountain of Fire. Ever and anon, the furnaces far below its ashen cone would grow hot, and with a great surging and throbbing pour forth rivers of molten rock from chasms in its sides. Some would flow, blazing toward Barad-dûr, down great channels. Some would wind their way into the stony plain until they cooled and lay like twisted dragon shapes vomited from the tormented earth. In such an hour of labor, Sam beheld Mount Doom, and the light of it, cut off by the high screen of the Ephel-duath from those who climbed up the path from the west, now glared against the stark rock faces, so that they seemed to be drenched with blood. It's like teeth and blood and crazy the imagery here. In that dreadful light, Sam stood aghast, for now, looking to his left, he could see the tower of Cirith Ungol in all its strength. The horn that he had seen from the other side was only its topmost turret. Its eastern face stood up in 3 great tiers from a shelf in the mountain wall far below. Eastern face, 3 great tiers, okay. Its back was to a great cliff behind, from which it jutted out in pointed bastions, one above the other, diminishing as they rose, with sheer sides of cunning masonry that looked northeast and southeast, about the lowest tier, 200 feet below, where Sam now stood. There was a battlement wall enclosing a narrow court. So Sam is above the lowest tier because he's on the mountain, and it's okay. I'm seeing faces north. Let me see it again. North, east, and southeast, because he's on the mountain that's a little bit to the west. Okay. Its gate, upon near southeastern side, opened on a broad road, the outer parapet of which ran upon the brink of a precipice, until it turned southward and went winding down into the darkness to join the road that came over the Morgul Pass. Then on it went through a jagged rift in the Morgai out into the valley of Gorgoroth and away to Barad-dûr. The narrow upper way on which Sam stood leapt swiftly down by stair and steep path to meet the main road under the frowning walls close to the tower gate. That does not feel like a good way to go, but if it is the only way, I suppose he'll have to. Okay, we are where it says Minas Morgul, not the dot of Minas Morgul. Okay, so we really haven't come that far. Makes sense. The rope was not a gift from Galadriel. That was a movie thing. All right, fair. It was a gift from another fellow elf. So I'm thinking of it indirect elven magic Galadriel stuff, and that's not necessarily fair. So another elf gives him a rope. It clearly has some magic to it, but not the same kind of magic that a direct Galadriel gift would have. Wait, what do you mean standard? So, okay, standard rope, totally cool. Comes with the boats, but Ellie is saying Sam did not get rope. But didn't he definitely get rope? And I know I'm thinking of the movies, it's fair, but didn't we actually have a very similar scene in the books where he tied a knot and he was like, this knot is so great, it's going to hold. And then he pulls it and it slips away. I thought that movie scene was taken directly from here. Am I crazy? So Andrew says he did get a rope. It just wasn't the main gift, because in the movies it was like the gift. In the book, his main gift was the dirt for his garden. Yeah, box of dirt. Yeah, nice, Ellie. He took one of the coils of rope from the boat. He took it? He just took a rope from the boat? I thought it was like given to him because he was having that conversation with the elf about rope making, and they were like, oh, if we had only known, we could have shown you how we make rope. Okay, so it does have elven virtue, but it's a standard rope. It's not a special rope. This isn't a Galadriel blessed rope. This is just elf stuff is sometimes special. It always is. And okay, all right, that's fine. I can accept this. Now, how's Sam going to get in here? I'm hoping he does a little rock climbing, scaling so he doesn't go down to just come back up. Oh, maybe he's going to use his rope right now. That'd be funny. No, then you guys would have mentioned that? Maybe not. I don't know. Wow, you guys know what the rope is made out of? Real elven rope. All right, as he gazed at it, suddenly Sam understood, almost with a shock, that this stronghold had been built not to keep enemies out of Mordor, but to keep them in. It was indeed one of the works of Gondor long ago, an eastern outpost in the defenses of Ithilien, made when after the last alliance, men of Westerness kept watch on the evil land of Sauron, where his creatures still lurked. Oh, man. See, this is perfect. It's like the wall on the western side of Mordor is a giant wall of mountains. And right now, Sauron is using that wall to his advantage. But it used to be used for forces of good, for the men of Westerness. That makes so much more sense. It'd be so great if they could have just held it. They'd have Minas Morgul. They'd have this whole thing. No, they really should have connected Minas Morgul to this tower a lot better. Unless they used to have something that was torn apart years ago. But either way, it feels like this tower would have been a perfect place of defense because it would require coming up and over the mountains. It's like why Switzerland is so well covered. They've got mountain walls on every side. Okay, let's see. What happened to these men and why did they stop? But as with Narcost and Carcost, the towers of the teeth, so here too the vigilance had failed, and treachery had yielded up the tower to the Lord of the Ringwraiths. Narcost and Carcost, the towers of the teeth, are those the two towers? Is it... What's the other tower of the teeth? Barad-dûr? No. Interesting. So, this... now I gotta say, and treachery yielded up the tower to the Lord of the Ringwraiths? What kind of treachery? For long years, it had been held by evil things. Since his return to Mordor, Sauron had found it useful, for he had few servants but many slaves of fear. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are not serving him by choice. but out of fear. And still, its chief purpose, as of old, was to prevent escape from Mordor. Oh, wow. Okay, I was reading that wrong, meaning I read it as escape, preventing escape, like it's a prison, it's a jail to hold people in. But it's still serving the same function it did in the days of men holding it, where it's preventing escape of the people who are in Mordor, who are held in fear like slaves to Sauron. Oh, that's dark. Though if an enemy were so rash as to try and enter that land secretly, then it was also a last unsleeping guard against any that might pass the vigilance of Morgul and of Shelob. Only too clearly Sam saw how hopeless it would be for him to creep down under those many-eyed walls and pass the watchful gaze. And even if he did so, he could not go far on the guarded road beyond. Not even the black shadows, lying deep where the red glow could not reach, would shield him long from the night-eyed orcs. But desperate as that road might be, his task was now far worse. Not to avoid the gate and escape, but to enter it alone. Yikes. So he's still thinking of going to the gate. He's still thinking that's a good move. The rope came because he called it. Oh, the Towers of the Teeth are at the Black Gates. I thought that for a second, but then I thought that must be wrong. But that was because I was thinking of it incorrectly. Weird that it's saying the Towers of the Teeth serve the same function, to trap people in Mordor as much as keep people out. Hotly debated. Yeah, I know, Sylvia. It's I'm having this debate in my head, but I'm so curious what other people think, and I'm curious if any official canon answers have been given, or if that's why it's hotly debated, because the answers were vague, and he didn't want to force it to be in a book anyway. He wanted one big old volume. All right, so Sam, his thought turned to the ring. But there was no comfort there, only dread and danger. Yes, man, Sam's got such a pure heart. His thought literally turns to the ring, and the ring's not doing this, right? The ring's not saying, don't put me on. Nah, forget it. I'm reading this right now as being Sam has some great old instincts or help from higher power. No comfort in the ring, only dread and danger. Where I feel like again, I'm probably projecting some movie stuff here. It feels like Frodo wants to put it on at all times. Not the good part of him, but like he's being tempted to put it on. There's like this pressure he has to resist. And for Sam, it feels to come like naturally. Dread and danger. No, I'm not going to do it. No sooner had he come to the sight of Mount Doom, burning far away, than he was aware of a change in his burden. As it drew near the great furnaces, where in the deeps of time it had been shaped and forged, the ring's power grew. He could feel this, and it became more fell, untamable, save by some mighty will. As Sam stood there, even though the ring was not on him, but hanging by its chain about his neck, he felt himself enlarged, as if he were robed in a huge, distorted shadow of himself, a vast and ominous threat halted upon the walls of Mordor. He felt that he had from now on only two choices: to forbear the ring, though it would torment him, or to claim it and challenge the power that sat in its dark hold beyond the Valley of Shadows. Oh my. Okay, so I take it back about him not being affected by it. I just love that he viewed it as dread and danger, but crazy that he's feeling this pull and power. Already the ring tempted him, gnawing at his will and reason. Wild fantasies arose in his mind, and he saw Samwise the Strong, hero of the age, striding with a flaming sword across darkened land, and armies flocking to his call as he marched to overthrow of Barad-dûr. And then all the clouds rolled away, and the white sun shone, and at his command the Vale of Gorgoroth became a garden of flowers and trees, and brought forth fruit. He had only to put on the ring and claim it for his own, and all this could be. Oh, boy. That took a dark turn mid-paragraph. Crazy that The ring is giving him like almost like hope. It's not like the ring is turning him dark. I mean, on some level, I'm sure. And is this a reality? I don't know. But the ring is tempting Sam with a garden of flowers and trees and brought forth fruit. It's like the ring is tempting him with what he actually would find appealing, to be a hero and gardens. And could that actually be? Could he actually make that happen? And it would only be after all of that that eventually the ring would find its way back to Sauron and evil would prevail. And that's why Gandalf doesn't want to risk any of that. Wow, crazy. So much ring lore that I don't fully understand, but I'm just trying to form opinions on. In that hour of trial, it was the love of his master that helped most to hold him firm. Hour. Literal hour? I don't think so, but maybe. Love of his master. But also, deep down in him lived, still unconquered, his plain hobbit sense. He knew, in the core of his heart, that he was not large enough to bear such a burden, even if such visions were not a mere cheat to betray him. So were the visions a cheat? The one small garden of a free gardener was all his need and due, not a garden swollen to a realm, his own hands to use, not the hands of others to command. Wow. See, that's so great. The core of his heart, a plain sense. So I feel like this is the thing that makes hobbits so well suited for ring carrying in general. And I'm saying hobbits because I know Frodo is special. It's cool. But Sam's kind of crushing it right now. He, even when he's being tempted with all this stuff, he kind of doesn't want it. He's so content. One small garden is all he needs. And enough that his own hands can use. He doesn't need like a huge garden that requires armies to maintain. And he also can sense that the next paragraph, and anyway, all these notions are only a trick, he said to himself. He'd spot me and cow me before I could so much as shout out. He'd spot me pretty quick if I put this ring on now in Mordor. Is that true? Is the line to Mordor as literal as over the crest of a hill, and now he'd be visible to the eye? Even if it isn't true, it serves our purposes that he's not willing to put the ring on. Well, all I can say is things look as hopeless as a frost in spring. Just when being invisible would be really useful, I can't use the ring. And if ever I get any further, it's going to be nothing but a drag and a burden every step. So what's to be done? He was not really in any doubt. He knew that he must go down to the gate and not linger any more. With a shrug of his shoulders, as if to shake off the shadow and dismiss the phantoms, he began slowly to descend. With each step, he seemed to diminish. He had not gone far before he had shrunk again to a very small and frightened hobbit, like shrinking from the feeling large from the ring. He was now passing under the very walls of the tower, and the cries and sounds of fighting could be heard with his unaided ears, no ring involved. At the moment, the noise seemed to be coming from the court behind the outer wall. Outer wall, court, tower, 3 tiers. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, no desire for power or excessive want for more. Yikes. Wow, forgot about the animated Lord of the Rings. Is that all the movies? Do they do it as one? Is it 3? I gotta watch that. They would use it from a desire to do good, but, yep, you're right. I'm a little sad that Sam doesn't, like, one of the things he said, it feels like he was not large enough to bear such a burden. It's good. I'm glad he doesn't think he can handle it. It's like, in a sense, that's him being very self-aware, as long as it's not self-deprecating. He's like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not cool enough to carry the ring. Like, I it's like it's self-aware, but it's somehow I don't want Sam being putting himself down. I want it to be coming from a place of he's so wise. Um, and I think he is. Um, yeah, Sam's a good dude. Wow, yeah, I think I do have to read watch the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit animated. Sounds great. Um, I'm thinking the contentment is just so awesome. Um, I feel like the modern world contentment is not natural. Everyone wants more and more and more. But think of how much easier everyone's lives would be if we were content with less. You get a raise, and all of a sudden by the next year, it's not good enough anymore. You want more. Yeah, it's crazy because then times change, and all of a sudden you want more. It happens so quickly. And Sam is able to just keep that reined in. It seems like his desire for more doesn't change, and even seeing so much more of the world now, like on some level, I feel like at the beginning he wanted more. He's like, I want to see the elves. I want to go to other places I haven't been. I don't think that's bad, but then he still is like, he doesn't want to rule anything. He doesn't want to own lands or be in charge of crazy stuff. He still wants to go back to the Shire, live in his humble place, and have a nice garden, and I love that. Sam was about halfway down the path when out of the dark gateway into the red glow there came two orcs running. They did not turn towards him. They were making for the main road, but even as they ran, they stumbled and fell to the ground and lay still. Huh. My first thought was they're carrying the stuff from Frodo, the mithril. Sam had seen no arrows, but he guessed that the orcs had been shot down by others on the battlements or hidden in the shadow of the gates. He went on, hugging the wall on his left. One look upward had shown him that there was no hope of climbing it. The stonework rose 30 feet without a crack or ledge. The men of Westerness know how to build a tower. No overhanging courses like inverted steps. The gate was the only way. He crept on, and as he went, and I'm also thinking it's crazy that this is such an old thing, and it's not breaking down and revealing cracks. It's still solid stone. He crept on, and as he went, he wondered how many orcs lived there in the tower with Shagrat, and how many Gorbag had, and what they were quarreling about, if that was what was happening. Shagrat's company had seemed to be about 40, and Gorbag's more than twice as large, but of course, Shagrat's patrol had only been part of his garrison. Almost certainly they were quarreling about Frodo and the spoil. For a second, Sam halted, for suddenly things seemed clear to him, almost as if he had seen them with his eyes. The mithril coat. Of course, Frodo was wearing it, and if they would find it, and from what Sam had heard, Gorbag would covet it. But the orders of the Dark Tower were at present Frodo's only protection, and if they were set aside, Frodo might be killed out of hand at any moment. Yeah, that would explain it. So I guess those two orcs that were running were just running out of actual fear. They didn't have the mithril coat trying to run back to be loyal to Sauron or hoping for a reward. Come on, you miserable sluggard, Sam cried to himself. Now for it. He drew Sting and ran towards the open gate. But just as he was about to pass under its great arch, he felt a shock, as if he had run into something web-like, Shelob's only invisible. He could see no obstacle, but something too strong for his will to overcome barred the way. He looked about, and then within the shadow of the gate he saw two watchers. Whoa! Two watchers. What are we talking about here? Force field magic watchers? They were like great figures seated upon thrones. Each had 3 jointed bodies and 3 heads facing outwards. Fluffy. Outward and inward and across the gateway. Okay, so they're on either side of the gate, out, in, and over the gate. Both sides. Okay, and they're creating this kind of crazy force field. 3-jointed body, like what? Like a bug's, like a thorax with a couple of joints in there. The heads had vulture faces, And on their great knees were laid claw-like hands. They seemed to be carved out of huge blocks of stone. Okay, so these are like, wait, seemed to be carved out of? Seemed because they were, or seemed because they're just creatures staying really still? Immovable. And yet they were aware some dreadful spirit of evil vigilance abode in them. They knew an enemy, visible or invisible, none could pass unheeded. They would forbid his entry or his escape. This is unexpected. Okay, weird. So, creatures that are stone-like and maybe stone sitting here blocking the way. They're watchers. Do they see him? I guess so. Have they notified anyone? Is this a big deal, or does he have to find some other way in? Whoa. Oh, 3 joined bodies. Good catch there, Atan. 3 joined bodies. Joined bodies. And 3 heads. So each one is like 3 bodies and 3 heads. It's like a carven thing, like a statue. Okay. So he's saying 2 watchers, but each of the watchers is 3 bodies, 3 heads. Okay. Hardening his will, Sam thrust forward once again and halted with a jerk, staggering as if from a blow upon his breast and head. Then, greatly daring, because he could think of nothing else to do, answering a sudden thought that came to him, he drew slowly out the phial of Galadriel and held it up. Its white light quickened swiftly, and the shadows under the dark arch fled. The monstrous watchers sat there cold and still, revealed in all their hideous shape. For a moment, Sam caught a glitter in the black stones of their eyes, the very malice of which made him quail, but slowly he felt their will waver and crumble into fear. I'm still like wondering, are these real critters? But they don't move. They're like locked in stone. This is saying stone like more literally. That's where I'm leaning on these. So, okay, stone, but there's malice and evil, and he's watching it in their eyes leave. Crazy, awesome. I love that this, to me, is more like Galadriel magic, where that instinct to pull this out, when I feel like in other times in their journey, they've totally forgotten about it. But now, when it's needed, you know, there's this darkness blocking under the archway. He's like, oh, yeah, got this. Boom. Love that. A sudden thought that came to him. Who planted that thought? Galadriel did. So the orcs put this up. Sauron put this up, right? The 2 watchers. These are not watchers that the men put up, the men of Westerness back in the day. This must be a new thing, right? Or unless they originally were put up by men and then repurposed for evil, like the rest of the tower. Not Galadriel, Ruth says. All right, could be true. Statues possessed by evil spirits in the service of Sauron. That makes sense. More like gargoyles you see in Gothic structures. Gargoyles, joined bodies. Okay, yeah, I can be down with that. That's kind of what I'm picturing. I'm not totally sure what I'm picturing, but it's something like a gargoyle. I think I'm picturing. Likely installed by Sauron, you say, Sylvie. All right. He sprang past them, and even as he did so, thrusting the phial back into his bosom, he was aware, as plainly as if a bar of steel had snapped to behind him, their vigilance was renewed. Wow, he needed that, literally just open it up. They didn't flee. They're still there. That evil spirits, those watchers are not messing around. And from those evil heads there came a high, shrill cry that echoed in the towering walls before him. Far up above, like an answering signal, a harsh bell clanged a single stroke. Does that mean they just said, hey, someone just came in, be aware, and now the whole tower knows that he's there? That, yikes. That's done it, said Sam. Now I've rung the front door bell. Yeah, literally. Well, come on, somebody, he cried. Tell Captain Shagrat that the great elf warrior has called, with his elf sword, too. There was no answer. Sam strode forward. Sting glittered blue in his hand. The courtyard lay in deep shadow, but he could see that the pavement was strewn with bodies. Right at his feet were 2 orc archers with knives sticking in their backs. Beyond lay many more shapes, some singly, as they had been hewn down or shot. Others, singly. Others in pairs, still grappling one another, dead in the very throes of stabbing, throttling, biting. The stones were slippery with dark blood. Orcs are just chaos. Crazy. 2 liveries, Sam noticed, one marked by the red eye, the other by the moon disfigured with a ghastly face of death, but he did not stop to look more. So these are like, the red eye would be like most loyal to Sauron, and then the moon disfigured would be the some other faction of orc chaos. He did not stop to look more closely. Across the court, a great door at the foot of the tower stood half open. Some would say half closed. And a red light came through. A large orc lay dead upon the threshold. Sam sprang over the body and went in, and then he peered about at a loss. I guess it's kind of a good thing that all this is happening. Right now, my mind is kind of going back to the good fate and Galadriel or whoever else. I'm thinking of what caused all of this chaos and could have been orchestrated by a force for good. This feels like it could be a little bit of fate. Skull Moon, Minas Morgul, the Witch King. Oh, nice. Okay, so this kind of Sauron's dudes and Witch King's dudes. Thank you, guys. So I'm just curious if any of this, even if it was over the mithril coat like Sam suspects. The mithril coat, important because it saved Frodo in the Mines of Moria. But I'm curious if part of it was also to serve this function of initiating a little bit of a fight. Maybe that's putting a little too much credit into this fate, but still. A wide echoing passage led back from the door towards the mountainside. It was dimly lit with torches flaring in brackets on the walls, but its distant end was lost in gloom. Many doors and openings could be seen on this side and that, but it was empty save for 2 or 3 more bodies sprawling on the floor. From what he had heard of the captain's talk, Sam knew that, dead or alive, Frodo would most likely be found in a chamber high up in the turret far above, but he might search for a day before he found the way. It'll be near the back, I guess, said Sam muttered. The whole tower climbs backwards like, and anyways, I'd better follow these lights. He advanced down the passage, but slowly now, each step more reluctant. Makes sense. Terror was beginning to grip him again. There was no sound save the rap of his feet, which seemed to grow to an echoing noise like the slapping of a great hand upon stone. The dead bodies, the emptiness, the dank black walls that in the torchlight seemed to drip with blood, the fear of sudden death lurking in the doorway or shadow, and behind all his mind, the waiting, watchful malice at the gate. It was almost more than he could screw himself to face. He would have welcomed a fight, with not too many enemies at a time, rather than this hideous, brooding uncertainty. Yeah, nobody likes being in limbo like this. He forced himself to think of Frodo, lying bound or in pain, or dead somewhere in this dreadful place. He went on. Again, the love of Frodo, driving him on. Yeah, spelling in English is hard. Absolutely. Providence. Shaped by the free will of the dancers. I like that. Good way to say it. So he's still thinking of Frodo. and that's helping to drive him forward. He had passed beyond the torchlight, almost to a great arched door at the end of the passage, the inner side of the undergate, as he rightly guessed when there came from high above a dreadful choking shriek. He stopped short. Then he heard feet coming. Someone was running in great haste down an echoing stairway overhead. His will was too weak and slow to restrain his hand. He dragged at the chain and clutched the ring, but Sam did not put it on. For even as he clasped it to his breast, an orc came clattering down, leaping out of the dark opening at the right. It ran towards him. It was no more than 6 paces from him. When lifting its head, it saw him, and Sam could hear its gasping breath and see the glare in his bloodshot eyes. Its bloodshot eyes. It stopped short, aghast, for what it saw was not a small frightened hobbit trying to hold a steady sword. It saw a great silent shape, cloaked in gray shadow, looming against the wavering light. Behind, in one hand, it held a sword, and the very light of which was a bitter pain. The other was clutched at its breast, but held concealed some nameless menace of power and doom. That's great. For a moment the orc crouched, and then with a hideous yelp of fear it turned and fled back as it had come. Never was any dog more heartened when its enemy turned tail than Sam at this unexpected flight. With a shout he gave chase. "Yes, the elf warrior is loose," he cried. "I'm coming. Just you show me the way up, or I'll skin you." He got bold fast. This is great. But the orc was in its own haunts, nimble and well-fed. Sam was a stranger, hungry and weary. The stairs were high and steep and winding. Sam's breath began to come in gasps. Yeah, like just running upstairs in full gear. The orc had soon passed out of sight, and now only faintly could be heard the slapping of its feet as it went on and up. Every now and again it gave a yell, and the echo ran along the walls. But slowly all sound of it died away. This is a tall tower. And taller for a short hobbit. Samwise the Brave. Yeah, I do love evil defeating itself, Andrew. You're right. Yes. The orc had soon passed out of sight. Nope, slowly all sounds died away. Sam plodded on. He felt that he was on the right road, and his spirits had risen a good deal. He thrust the ring away and tightened his belt. "Well, well," he said, "if only they all take such a dislike to me and my sting, this may turn out better than I hoped." He gets hopeful so fast. I love it. So great. And anyway, it looks as if Shagrat and Gorbag and company have done nearly all my job for me, except for that little frightened rat. I do believe there's nobody left alive in this place. Well, that frightened rat was running from something, right? And with that he stopped, brought up hard as if he had hit his head against the stone wall. The full meaning of what he had said struck him like a blow. Nobody left alive. Whose had been that horrible dying shriek? Frodo? Frodo! "Master," he cried, half sobbing, "if they've killed you, what shall I do? Well, I'm coming at last, right to the top to see what I must." Up, up he went. If it was dark, save for an occasional torch flaring at a turn, or beside some opening that led into the higher levels of the tower. Sam tried to count the steps, but after 200 he lost his reckoning. He was moving quietly now, for he thought that he could hear the sound of voices talking, still some way above. More than one rat remained alive, it seemed. All at once, when he felt that he could pump out no more breath or force his knees to bend again, the stair ended. He stood still. The voices were now loud and near. Sam peered about. He had climbed right to the flat roof of the third highest tier of the tower. Okay. An open space about 20 yards across with a low parapet. There the stair was covered by a small domed chamber in the midst of the roof, with low doors facing east and west. Eastward, Sam could see the plain of Mordor, vast and dark below, and the burning mountain far away. A fresh turmoil was surging in its deep wells, and the rivers of fire blazed so fiercely that even at the distance of many miles, the light of them lit the tower top with a red glare. Westward, the view was blocked by the base of the great turret that stood at the back of this upper court and reared its horn high above the crest of the encircling hill. Light gleamed in a window slit. Its door was not 10 yards from where Sam stood. It was open but dark, and from just within its shadow, the voices came. I'm liking this writing. I'm liking this. Yeah, and Dennis, man-sized stair, hobbit legs, extra terrible. Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, like in DC or something, you go to like some of these big monuments. Sometimes they have stairs that are big and grand. And just trying to walk up bonus steps, unacceptable. Normal size stairs, okay. Mini steps, yes. Mega steps, no bueno. Yeah, half their height. Although I don't know exactly. Oh, I was going to say I don't know goblin or orc or evil height, but this was made by men, and we know that Sam was half their height. And this was men of Westerness, so they were pretty big. Yeah, Sam's just crushing steps these days. He's got thighs for days, I'm sure. I'm not even making any notes. I'm just eager reading on. Oh, within the shadows, voices came. At first, Sam did not listen. He took a pace out of the eastward door and looked about. At once, he saw that up here the fighting had been fiercest. All the court was choked with dead orcs, or their severed and scattered heads and limbs. This place stank of death. A snarl, followed by a blow and a cry, sent him darting back into hiding. An orc voice rose in anger, and he knew it again at once. Harsh, brutal, cold. It was Shagrat, captain of the tower. Yep. You won't go again, you say. Curse you, Snagga, you little maggot. If you think I'm so damaged that it's safe to flout me, you're mistaken. Come here and I'll squeeze your eyes out like I did to Ragbug just now. And when some new lads come, I'll deal with you. I'll send you to Shelob. I have an image of he's calling this person, this other guy to him because he doesn't have legs or something. They won't come. Not before you're dead anyway, answered Snagga, surly. I've told you twice that Gorbag's swine got to the gate first and none of ours got out. Lagduff and Muzgash ran through, but they were shot. Oh, the two orcs outside. I saw it from a window, I tell you, and they were the last. Then you must go. I must stay here anyway, but I'm hurt. The black pits take the filthy rebel Gorbag. Shagrat's voice trailed off into a shrill of foul names and curses. I gave him better than I got, but he knifed me. The dung before I throttled him. You must go or I'll eat you. News must get through to Lugburs or we'll both be for the black pits. Yes, you too. You won't escape by skulking here. I'm not going down those stairs again, growled Snagga. Be you captain or no, Nar? Keep your hands off your knife or I'll put an arrow in your guts. You won't be a captain long when they hear about all these going-ons. I've fought for the tower against those stinking Morgul rats, but a nice mess you two precious captains have made of things fighting over the swag. That's enough from you, snarled Snagrat. I had my orders. It was Gorbag started it, trying to pinch that pretty shirt. All right, we're getting finally a feel of what's going on here. Oh, tough to read the back and forth in this battle, and orc talk at that. Their grammar's not the best. Sam is the Stairmaster. Nailed it. Okay, so it seems that pretty shirt is what this is all about, which makes sense, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the shirt. Did anyone make it out? Where is it? So Shagrat was kind of doing what he was supposed to. Gorbag started it by trying to steal a shirt and be like, well, let's keep this. And now, what's the other guy? Snagga says, well, you put his back up being so high and mighty, and he had more sense than you anyway. He told you more than once that the most dangerous of these spies was still loose, and you wouldn't listen. And you won't listen now. Gorbag was right, I tell you. There's a great fighter about. One of those bloody-handed elves, or one of the filthy Tarks. Tarks? See Appendix F. Oh, page 1105. Maybe later. Maybe later. I got to remember that. Am I allowed to look now? What do you guys think? Am I allowed to look at what a Tark is? Or is that some kind of spoiler for future things? Appendix F, little thing. I'm not trying to get major spoilers, but thank you. All right, I'm going to look. 1105. I already have some things highlighted on this. Other races about Ents. Okay. Trolls. Orcs. Oh, orcs and black speech. I don't know how much of... Wait, does it give more information than that? Appendix F. Orc is a form of the name that other races had for the foul people in the language of Rohan, etc., etc. I'm not trying to overread because I don't want any spoilers till I'm ready to really soak it in. Ooh, Tark, I see it. So it was in the Third Age, orcs used for communication between breed and breed of the Western tongue, that many indeed of the older tribes, such as those that still lingered in the north and in the Misty Mountains, had long used the Western as their native language, though in such a fashion as to make it hardly less unlovely than Orcish. In this jargon, Tark, man of Gondor, was a debased form of Tarkil, a Quenya word used in Western for one of Numenorian descent. Ah, okay, cool. I really like that. It's a nice, simple word. I feel like that should almost be like a good thing. A Tark. I'm going to just write it in here. And funny that Sam is half the height of any Tark. He's coming here, I tell you. You heard the bell. He's got past the Watchers, and that's Tark's work. That's funny. I'm now curious, what else could get past the Watchers? If Snaga seems to think someone from Numenor, a man of Westerness, could get through the Watchers, I'm curious if there's something else to it. Because this was built by men of Westerness, maybe they're able to get through, even if evil spirits or whatever else have taken over the Watchers. Maybe that's possible, that someone beyond Sam and elven magic could get through. He's on the stairs, and until he's off them, I'm not going down. Not if you were a Nazgul, I wouldn't. So that's it, is it? Yelled Shagrat. You'll do this and you'll not do that, and when he does come, you'll bolt and leave me? No, you won't. I'll put red maggot holes in your belly first. One of the turret doors, the smaller orc... out of the turret doors, the smaller orc came flying. Behind him came Shagrat, a large orc with long arms. As he ran crouching, reached to the ground. Oh, like, so he ran crouching, but he's got like gorilla arms that hang to the ground. But one arm hung limp and seemed to be bleeding. The other hugged a large black bundle. In the red glare, Sam, cowering behind the stair door, caught a glimpse of his evil face as it passed. It was scored as if by rending claws and smeared with blood. Slaver dripped from its protruding fangs, and the mouth snarled like an animal. As far as Sam could see, Shagrat hunted Snaga around the roof, until, ducking and eluding him, the smaller orc with a yelp darted back into the turret and disappeared. Then Shagrat halted. Out of the eastward doors, Sam could see him now by the parapet, panting, his left claw clenching and unclenching feebly. He put the bundle on the floor, and with his right claw drew out a long red knife and spat on it. Going to the parapet, he leaned over, looking down into the outer court far below. Twice he shouted, but no answer came. So is he trapping Snaga in that area? I guess kind of, but he's also like looking down. Is he looking for Sam or just kind of scouting? Is anyone else here? Is it just these two dudes? And it said they're at the top of the third tier. Does that mean they're at the roof? No, because it said there's still a little more height. But I guess in whatever battle, it seems like a lot of the drama's here, but maybe Frodo is still higher. Maybe Stairmaster has a little longer to go. Yeah, you nailed it. There is one QWERTY. Indeed. Oh, and Dennis, thanks for giving the quick one. Man of Gondor. Nice. Suddenly, as Shagrat was stooped over the battlement, his back to the rooftop, Sam, to his amazement, saw that one of the sprawling bodies was moving. It was crawling. It put out a claw and clutched the bundle. Ooh, that bundle might be Frodo. It staggered up. In its other hand, it held a broad-headed spear with a short broken shaft, or broken haft. It was poised for a stabbing thrust, but at that very moment a hiss escaped its teeth. A gasp of pain or hate, quick as a snake, Shagrat slipped aside, twisted round, and drove his knife into the enemy's throat. "Gotcha, Gorebag," he cried. "Not quite dead, eh? Well, I'll finish my job now." He sprang onto the fallen body and stamped and trampled it in his fury. Ooh, this is about as gory as we've seen yet. Stooping now and again to stab and slash it with his knife, satisfied at last, he threw back his head and let out a horrible gurgling yell of triumph. Then he licked his knife and put it between his teeth, and catching up the bundle, came loping towards the near door of the stairs. Sam had no time to think. He might have slipped out of the other door, but hardly without being seen, and he could not have played hide-and-seek with this hideous orc for long. He did what was probably the best thing he could have done. He sprang out to meet Shagrat with a shout. Whoa, that's the best thing he could have done? He was no longer holding the ring, but it was there, a hidden power, a cowing menace to the slaves of Mordor, and in his hand was Sting, and its light smote the eyes of the orc like a glitter of cruel stars in the terrible elf countries, the dream of which was a cold fear to all his kind. And Shagrat could not both fight and keep hold of his treasure. He stopped, growling, baring his fangs. Then once more, orc fashion, he leapt aside, and as Sam sprang at him, using the heavy bundle as both a shield and a weapon, he thrust it hard into his enemy's face. Sam staggered, and before he could recover, Shagrat darted past and down the stairs. Is he actually scared of Sam? Respect. This is great. I love the power of Sting, that it's like glitter and bright, like it's like cruel stars in a terrible elf countries. Like the stars are scary to them. Wow. And I still am hoping this bundle is Frodo, and now he's like, hopefully he got Frodo back right here. Sam ran after him, cursing. But he did not go far. Soon the thought of Frodo returned to him, and he remembered that the other orc had gone back into the turret. Here was another dreadful choice. He had no time to ponder it. If Shagrat got away, he would soon get help and come back. But if Sam pursued him, the other orc might do some horrible deed up there. And anyway, Sam might miss Shagrat or be killed by him. He turned quickly and ran back up the stairs. Wrong again, I expect, he sighed. But it's my job to go right up to the top first, whatever happens afterwards. Yep, I agree. I think he's making the right call, but I understand his dilemma. But what's he going to do, run all the way down the stairs and then back up? I think step one, figure things out with Frodo. I feel like that's his only option at this point. I feel like you have to start there. And I'm just surprised he's willing to try and fight Shagrat at all. I love that he is, but I'm glad he didn't let that distraction get him caught up. Wow. You know what? Sam does have a lot of magical gear. Truly, he's the most decked out magic right now. I guess usually Frodo has this, but Sting and the light and the ring. He's set. Away below, Shagrat went leaping down the stairs and out over the court and through the gate, bearing... Oh, okay. I thought he threw the burden, his little bundle, at Sam and used it as a shield but I guess he kind of like pushed Sam aside with it and then left with the bundle. Okay, so the bundle must be the mithril coat, um, bearing his precious burden. If Sam could have seen him and known the grief that his escape would bring, he might have quailed. Known the grief that his escape would bring. Okay, I think that confirms grief to others. But now his mind was set on the last stage of his search. He came cautiously to the turret door and stepped inside. It opened into darkness, but soon his staring eyes were aware of a dim light at his right hand. And it came from an opening that led to another stairway, dark and narrow. It appeared to go winding up the turret along the inside of its round outer wall. A torch was glimmering from somewhere up above. Softly, Sam began to climb. He came to the guttering torch fixed above a door on his left that faced a window slit looking out westward. One of the red eyes that he and Frodo had seen from down below by the tunnel's mouth. Oh, that's like what he's seen. Oh, with this torch. Okay. Quickly, Sam passed the door and hurried on to the second story, dreading at any moment to be attacked and to feel throttling fingers seize his throat from behind, because Shagga is up here somewhere. He came next to a window looking east and another torch above. Oh, so he's like going around. So he was westward window, eastward window. Another torch above the door to a passage through the middle of the turret. The door was open, the passage dark, save for the glimmer of the torch and the red glare from the outside filtering through the window slit. But here the stairs stopped and climbed no further. They're at the top. Sam crept into the passage. On either side there was a low door. Both were closed and locked. There was no sound at all. A dead end, muttered Sam. And after all my climb, this can't be the top of the tower. But what can I do now? He ran back to the lower story and tried the door. It would not move. He ran up again, and sweat began to trickle down his face. He felt that even minutes were precious, but one by one they escaped, and he could do nothing. He cared no longer for Shagrat or Snaga or any other orc that was ever spawned. He longed only for his master, for one sight of his face or one touch of his hand. Again, that Frodo loyalty. I mean, it's the Sam loyalty. He's just super, super loyal. But specifically for Frodo, love it. I think I timed my beer pretty well today. I don't know how many more pages are left. Coming up on the 2-hour mark. I'm just going to take a peek. Oop. Ooh, I got a few more. Better keep my pace going pretty good. I told Jen I wouldn't go too long. He longed only for his master. At last, weary and feeling finally defeated, he sat on a step below the level of the passage floor and bowed his head into his hands. It was quiet, horribly quiet. The torch that was already burning low when he arrived sputtered and went out, and he felt the darkness cover him like a tide. And then softly, to his own surprise, there at the vain end of his long journey and his grief, moved by what thought in his heart he could not tell, Sam began to sing. I did not know where that was going. Wow. Again, moved by something deep within. This, again, feels like this magical, like, this is like the third time in this chapter there's been some kind of like, I don't understand my feelings, but here is something that's happening. His voice sounded thin and quavering in the cold, dark tower, the voice of a forlorn and weary hobbit that no listening orc could possibly mistake for the clear song of an elven lord. He murmured old childish tunes, multiple, out of the Shire, and snatches of Mr. Bilbo's rhymes that came into his mind, like fleeting glimpses of the country of his home. And then suddenly, new strength rose in him, and his voice rang out, while words of his own came unbidden to fit the simple tune. So I guess he was singing other random songs that just came to mind, and then words of his own. Again, another thing, an unbidden, simple tune. In western lands beneath the sun, the flowers may rise in spring. The trees may bud, the waters run, the merry finches sing. Or there may be 'tis cloudless night, and swaying beeches bare, the elven stars as jewels white amid their branching hair. Though here at journey's end I lie, in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. I like it. A simple rhyme scheme, thankfully. I could do that on a fly. First thought, hope. So, I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. So the darkness will not stay. The day is not done. Cloudless night. All right, good. Now, how is this song going to affect things? It gave him hope, and that I like. Hope looks good on Sam. Oh. What a song indeed. What a song. Sounds like it hit John pretty good, huh? Yeah, you know. I'm curious what this simple tune is. And how long was he up here running around? It feels like he really reached an end here, you know? And did this song beckon Snaga to him to open a door above or something? Beyond all towers strong and high, he began again. Wait, which part was that? Oh, okay, so singing the last verse again. And then he stopped short. He thought that he heard a faint voice answering him. Answering him? But now he could hear nothing. Yes, he could hear something, but not a voice. Footsteps were approaching. Now a door was being opened quietly in the passage above. But he can hear it still? The hinges creaked. Sam crouched down listening. The door closed with a dull thud. And then a snarling orc voice ran out. I read that as Spanish, hola. Hola, you up there, you dunghill rat. Stop your squeaking or I'll come and deal with you. Do you hear? There was no answer. All right, growled Snaga. I'll come and have a look at you all the same and see what you're up to. The hinges creaked again, and Sam, now peering over the corner of the passage threshold, saw a flicker of light in an open doorway and the dim shape of an orc coming out. So, I mean, his song is working. It is getting movement here. He seemed to be carrying a ladder. Suddenly, the answer dawned on him. Oh, the topmost chamber was reached by a trap door in the roof of the passage. Snaga thrust the ladder upward, steadied it, and then clambered out of sight. Sam heard a bolt drawn back. Then he heard the hideous voice speaking again. You lie quiet or you'll pay for it. You've not got long to live in peace, I guess. But if you don't want the fun to begin right now, keep your trap shut, see? There's a reminder for you. There was a sound like the crack of a whip. All right, I think I'm catching up what's going on here. So Snaga thinks this is Frodo singing. Is that true? And now he's going up to say stop singing and give him a smack. Okay. And now this is showing Sam what's going on and confirming that Frodo is still alive because he is at least theoretically able to sing. At that rage rage blazed in Sam's heart to a sudden fury. He sprang up, ran, and went up the ladder like a cat. His head came out in the middle of a floor of a large round chamber. A red lamp hung from its roof. The westward window slit was high and dark. Something was lying on the floor by the wall under the window, but over it a black orc shape was straddled. It raised a whip a second time, but the blow never fell. With a cry, Sam leapt across the floor, sting in hand. The orc wheeled round, but before it could make a move, Sam slashed its whip hand from its arm. Howling with pain and fear, but desperate, the orc charged head down at him. Sam's next blow went wide, and thrown off his balance, he fell backward, clutching at the orc as it stumbled over him. Before he could scramble up, he heard a cry and a thud. The orc, in its wild haste, had tripped on the ladder head and fallen through the open trap door? Oh, man. Ay, ay, ay. Sam gave no more thought to it. He ran to the figure huddled on the floor. It was Frodo. Wait, so he's just leaving Snaga through the trap door? Wait, I'm trying to think of how high of a ceiling this is, but I'm saying you should probably give some more thought to it. But I'm glad he's focused on Frodo. That's cool. It was Frodo. Excellent. He was naked, lying as if in a swoon on a heap of filthy rags. His arm was flung up, shielding his head, and across his side there ran an ugly whip wheel. Wow. Frodo, Mr. Frodo, my dear, cried Sam, tears almost blinding him. It's Sam. I've come. He half lifted his master and hugged him to his breast. Frodo opened his eyes. Am I still dreaming? He muttered. But the other dreams are horrible. You're not dreaming at all, master, said Sam. It's real. It's me. I've come. I can hardly believe it, said Frodo, clutching him. There was an orc with a whip, and then it turns into Sam. Then I wasn't dreaming after all. When I heard the singing down below, and I tried to answer, was it you? It was indeed, Mr. Frodo. I'd given up hope almost. I couldn't find you. Well, you have now, Sam. Dear Sam, said Frodo. He lay back in Sam's gentle arms, closing his eyes like a child at rest when night fears are driven away by some loved voice or hand. Wow, this is great. Sam felt that he could sit like this in endless happiness, but it was not allowed. It was not enough for him to find his master. He had still to try and save him. He kissed Frodo's forehead. Come, wake up, Mr. Frodo, he said, trying to sound as cheerful as he had when he drew back the curtains at Bag End on a summer's morning. Wow, see, and even now he's being considerate. He's trying to cheer Frodo up. I love this. And he knows that there's more work to do. Frodo sighed and sat up. Where are we? How did I get here? He asked. There's no time for tales till we get somewhere else, Mr. Frodo, said Sam. But you're in the top of that tower you and me saw from away down by the tunnel before the orcs got you. How long ago that was, I don't know. More than a day, I guess. Only that, said Frodo? It seems weeks. You must tell me all about it. Yeah, I guess we don't really even know how long it's been, because Sam also was knocked out for a little bit. But a day seems a little more reasonable than weeks, but being an orc captive must feel like a long time. And you add a little bit of spider venom to it. Yeah. You must tell me all about it if we get the chance. Something hit me, didn't it? And I fell into darkness and foul dreams and woke and found that waking was worse. Yeah, like I guess it's worse than any kind of nightmare he could come up with. And I'm wondering if there's anything about Shelob's poison that is more evil, like makes the dreams worse, makes you feel more pain or something even while you're paralyzed. Orcs were all around me. I think they had just been pouring some horrible burning drink down my throat. My head grew clear, but I was aching and weary. They stripped me of everything, and then two great brutes came and questioned me until I thought I should go mad, standing over me, gloating, fingering their knives. I'll never forget their claws and eyes. You won't if you talk about them, Mr. Frodo, said Sam. And if we don't want to see them again, the sooner we get going, the better. Can you walk? He's like, I'll never forget them. And Sam is immediately like, well, yeah, you're not going to forget them if you keep mentioning them. I was like, he's just getting it out the first time here. You could probably relax a little, Sam. But I appreciate the sentiment of let's not over talk about our problems here. But also, let's get out of here. Can you walk? Good question. All right, good, Frodo. Yes, I can walk, said Frodo, getting up slowly. I am not hurt, Sam. Only I feel very tired, and I've a pain here. He put his hand on the back of his neck, above his left shoulder. He stood up, and it looked to Sam as if he was clothed in flame. His naked skin was scarlet in the light of the lamp above. Twice he paced across the floor. Why was it scarlet? Was he being beat or something, or is this part like inflammation from the poison? Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch John's reaction to this after this. Yeah, I guess the hobbits are gonna get back and oh, the red light. Okay, thank you for that. So simple. Sam's the only hobbit who did not drink the orc draft. Like they can talk about it later and how terrible it is, and Sam's going to be missing out, I guess. That's better, he said, his spirits rising a little. I didn't dare to move when I was left alone, or one of the guards came. Until the yelling and fighting began, the two big brutes, they quarreled, I think, over me and my things. I lay here terrified, and then all went deadly quiet, and that was worse. Yes, they quarreled, seemingly, said Sam. There must have been a couple of hundred of the dirty creatures in this place. A bit of a tall order for Sam Gamgee, as you might say. But they've done all the killing themselves. That's lucky, but it's too long to make a song about it till we're out of here. Well, you kind of did already make a song almost about it. Now, what's to be done? You can't go walking in the black land in naught but your skin, Mr. Frodo. They've taken everything, Sam, said Frodo. Everything I had. Do you understand? Everything. Oh, he's saying everything because he's saying the ring. Like he does not have the ring. He's panicking. He cowered on the floor again, bowed his head as his own words brought home to him the fullness of the disaster, and despair overwhelmed him. The quest has failed, Sam. Even if we get out of here, we can't escape. Only elves can escape. Away out of Middle-earth. Far away over the sea. Oh, man. So Frodo, I'm thinking he means elves escaping the two Watchers, and I'm thinking, how does he even know that? No, he's talking about only elves can escape because Sauron will take over Middle-earth. Everything has failed. Evil wins. Man, Frodo's dealing with a lot up here. Away out of Middle-earth. Far away over the sea. Even that is wide enough to keep the shadow out. That's a question I've had. Is it wide enough? Could Sauron, if Sauron took over Middle-earth, could Sauron go over? I guess, wait, the Greyhavens are in Middle-earth, but to wherever they go, to the land beyond the sea. No, not everything, Mr. Frodo. And it hasn't failed yet. It hasn't failed, not yet. I took it, Mr. Frodo, begging your pardon, and I've kept it safe. It's round my neck now. And a terrible burden it is, too. Sam fumbled for the ring and its chain, but I suppose you must take it back. Now, it had come to it. Sam felt reluctant to give up the ring and burden his master with it again. Ooh, wow. I'm thinking of the movie, and there's the moment, but I love that it said he's reluctant to give up the ring and burden his master with it again. Is that his pure actual thought? Like, he's reluctant to give it up, not because of the power or because he wants it. He's reluctant because he doesn't want Frodo to have to deal with the burden. That's the purest reason to not want to give the ring up. Even mid-sentence, I didn't know where that was going. He is loving Frodo in even his reluctance to give it back. That is great. Because Frodo's comfort is more important on some level than even completing this task. And he knows, but it's like he's reluctant. Oh, I don't want to give it back. I know this is going to cause you pain. Wow. You've got it, gasped Frodo. You've got it here, Sam? You're a marvel. Then quickly and strangely his tone changed. Give it to me, he cried, standing up, holding out a trembling hand. Give it to me at once. You can't have it. Ooh, that is a tone shift. All right, Mr. Frodo, said Sam, rather startled. Here it is. Slowly he drew the ring out and passed the chain over his head. But you're in the land of Mordor now, sir, and when you get out, you'll see the fiery mountain and all. You'll find the ring very dangerous now and very hard to bear. If it's too hard a job, I could share it with you, maybe. Oh, carry it for a while. Okay, so that moment is happening right now. He's offering to share it. The tone shift from Frodo feels a little over the line, but it's that ring pull that I feel like we're seeing, obviously more extreme than before, but for the first time really in the books. I don't feel like it was anywhere close to what we experience in the movies. This feels like the first moment where you're experiencing that at all. Frodo wants it. And I don't think this is just wanting it so he can complete a mission from Gandalf. I feel like he misses the ring, and there's a bit of a craving here. And maybe that's what's coming from Sam too. I'm interpreting Sam's thoughts as a little more pure, but it still feels like it's a hard job. I could share it. Is that pure, or is it because he wants more of the ring? No, no, cried Frodo, snatching the ring and chain from Sam's hand. Ooh, no, you won't, you thief. He panted, staring at Sam with eyes wide with fear and enmity. Then suddenly, clasping the ring in one clenched fist, he stood aghast. A mist seemed to clear from his eyes, and he passed a hand over his aching brow. The hideous vision had seemed so real to him. What vision? Half bemused as he was, still with wound and fear, Sam had changed before his very eyes into an orc again, leering and pawing at his treasure, a foul little creature with greedy eyes and slobbering mouth. But now the vision had passed. There was Sam kneeling before him, his face wrung with pain, as if he had been stabbed in the heart. Tears welled from his eyes. Oh, poor Sam. Again, I'm taking that. I love Sam so much. And Frodo's dealing with a lot. I got to give him more credit. I like him more in the books, but I don't always like him so much. In these moments, I'm like, ooh, what's causing this though? Sorry, a lot of thoughts right now. What made him have a vision of this? Is this the ring from proximity giving him a vision of something crazier to get him to take the ring back? And I'm wondering if this is ring strategy. Can the ring feel Sam's discipline on some level? Does the ring prefer that Frodo has it instead of Sam? Is that where this is coming from? What is causing this? Or is this just previously the ring had warped Frodo's mind, so this vision just came up as if someone's trying to take the ring from me, then they're evil and they're bad. And this is like a glimpse of how Gollum feels. Bit of both. Co-opted by the ring. So you think there was some ring interference here. Insidious. Ooh, reluctant to burden his master. So you're saying, Qwerty, that that's the ring putting that thought in Sam's mind, which is fiendish. Just like, it's like a good thing. No, I don't want to burden him. I should keep it. Ooh, the timing too. Frodo has had the ring for 17 years, and now it's preying on him more heavily as he approaches Mordor. Yeah, true. So that extra amount of time, Sam's had this for no time at all. I'm sure Frodo was doing just fine in the early days. Less Sauron power and distance from Mordor. Sam's only had the ring for a little bit. So it's not quite the same. But I'm still just amazed at how Sam handled it from how it looks. At a quick read, but maybe I got to read it all again and soak it in. But wow, now poor Sam And I think Frodo realizes it right away as his vision clears. "Oh, Sam," cried Frodo, "what have I said? What have I done? Forgive me. After all you have done, it is the horrible power of the ring. I wish it had never, never been found. But don't mind me, Sam. I must carry the burden to the end. It can't be altered. You can't come between me and this doom." Doom. Interesting. "That's all right, Mr. Frodo," said Sam, rubbing his sleeve across his eyes. "I understand. But I can still help, can't I? I've got to get you out of here. At once, see? But first, you want some clothes and gear, and then some food. The clothes will be the easiest part. As we're in Mordor, we'd best dress up Mordor fashion, and anyway, there isn't no choice. I'll have to be orc stuff for you. Mr. Frodo, I'm afraid..." Oh, I'm terrible at reading right now. "It'll have to be orc stuff for you, Mr. Frodo, I'm afraid. And for me, too. If we go together, we'd best match. Now put this round you." Sam unclasped his gray cloak, giving the cloak off his back, and cast it about Frodo's shoulder. Then, unslinging his pack, he laid it on the floor. He drew Sting from its sheath. Hardly a flicker. What a relief. See, that's all I needed. I needed to know no orcs were nearby, at least not too close. Snagga is gone or dead or something. Hardly a flicker was to be seen upon its blade. "I was forgetting this, Mr. Frodo," he said. "No, they didn't get everything. You lent me Sting, if you remember, and the lady's glass. I've got them both still. But lend them to me a little longer, Mr. Frodo. I must go and see what I can find. You stay here. Walk about a bit and ease your legs. I shan't be long. I shan't have to go far." All right, reasonable. Lend this stuff to him. I feel like Frodo could probably come down with him. Like, they're at the top of a tower. They can kind of clear the tower as they go. And then just the first orc you see, put something on. Like, it feels a little weird to leave Frodo up here. And with the ring, and the Nazgul can fly and land. I'm just like, just stay together. That tends to be my thought here. But it comes from a good spot, I think, from Sam. And then Frodo is kind and says, "Yes, of course, keep borrowing my stuff." "Take care, Sam," said Frodo, "and be quick. There may be orcs still alive, lurking in wait." "I've got to chance it," said Sam. He stepped to the trap door and slipped down the ladder. In a minute, his head reappeared. Oh, that was fast. Whew, I thought we were going to have another torture of walking around this tower with creaks and noise around every corner. He threw a long knife on the floor. "There's something that might be useful," he said. "He's dead, the one that whipped you. Broke his neck, it seems, in his hurry." Snagga fell out the trap door and broke his neck. Wow. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I was really imagining a lot of different things. So that was quite a fortuitous little trip from Sam's perspective. I like to think Sam would have done all right, even if it did come to just hand-to-hand combat. But it seems like Sam was kind of tripping and falling a little too. So I can just be a little bit relieved that fate stepped in and clumsy orc falls down, and that takes care of it. "Now you draw up the ladder if you can, Mr. Frodo, and don't you let it down till you hear me call. The password, Elbereth, I'll call. What the elves say. No orc would say that." Nice. Okay, so that was just quick. He went to the bottom of the ladder and said, "Hey, here's a sword. You know what, Frodo? Hold this for a sec." Good move. Get Frodo a sword for defense immediately. That's a great thought. And now he's going to scout. Frodo sat for a while and shivered, dreadful fears chasing one another through his mind. Then he got up, drew the gray elven cloak about him, and to keep his mind occupied, began to walk to and fro, prying and peering into every corner of his prison. It was not very long, though fear made it seem an hour at least, before he heard Sam's voice calling up softly from below. "Elbereth, Elbereth." Frodo let down the light ladder. Also quick thinking from Sam. Love that. Good strategy, and that makes a little more sense to keep Frodo up there. He's just, again, prioritizing Frodo. You stay up there. You stay safe. You have a trapdoor. You pull the ladder up. No one can get to you. And Sam knows it because he spent a while exploring down there looking for any ways up. So, Up came Sam, puffing, heaving a great bundle on his head. He let it fall with a thud. Quick now, Mr. Frodo, he said. I've had a bit of a search to find anything small enough for the likes of us. We'll have to make do. But we must hurry. I've met nothing alive, and I've seen nothing. But I'm not easy. I think this place is being watched. I can't explain it, but, well, it feels to me as if one of those foul flying riders was about, up in the blackness where he can't be seen. I'm going to trust that instinct from Sam and take it as fact. Is that Black Rider watching carefully, specifically because it knows, or just a general, it's in the area? I'm not sure. But that's interesting, and that Sam is so aware of it. It also could be that Sam's wrong, and there is no flying rider, and he's just getting in his head a little bit. But either way, that kind of caution, I think, is wise. Okay, QWERTY. You know what? I like that clarification. And yeah, true. I bet people have different takes on this. It feels like JRR is a little vague on some of the specifics, and he doesn't draw the distinction of what is the ring versus what were the natural thoughts of the person. But human or hobbit mind can generate plenty of excuses for what it wants to do. So true. He opened the bundle. Frodo looked in disgust at the contents, but there was nothing for it. He had to put the things on or go naked. There were long hairy breeches of some unclean beast fell, and a tunic of dirty leather. Yeah, I guess that's like putting on orc underwear. Pretty gross. He drew them on. Over the tunic went a coat of stout ringmail, short for a full-size orc, too long for Frodo, and heavy. About it he clasped a belt, at which there hung a short sheath holding a broad-bladed stabbing sword. Sam had brought several orc helmets. One of them fitted Frodo well enough, a black cap with iron rim, and iron hoops covered with leather, upon which the evil eye was painted in red above the beak-like nose guard. Oh, yeah, the beak-like. Yeah, I remember that one. The Morgul stuff, Gorbag's gear, was a better fit and better made, said Sam. But it wouldn't do, I guess, to go carrying his tokens into Mordor. Not after this business here. Oh, wow. Again, smart. So Sam's saying we better blend in with the stuff from Mordor. We don't want to stick out using all this weird stuff that Gorbag has. We want to blend in, especially if word of this whole drama at the tower makes its way into Mordor. It would not be good for them to be representing Gorbag as they go back there or go out into Mordor, carrying his tokens into Mordor. Not after this business here. Well, there you are, Mr. Frodo, a perfect little orc, if I may make so bold. At least you would be, if we could cover your face with a mask, give you longer arms, and make you bow-legged. This will hide some of the telltales. He put a large black cloak around Frodo's shoulders. Now you're ready. You can pick up a shield as we go. What about you, Sam? Said Frodo. Aren't we going to match? Well, Mr. Frodo, I've been thinking, said Sam. I'd best not leave any of my stuff behind, and we can't destroy it, and I can't wear orc mail over all my clothes, can I? I'll just have to cover up. He can't leave any of his stuff behind. Like his clothing? Why not? Because they don't want evidence of like any of this? Or is he gonna miss his stuff? I guess I agree with him on some level, but they should match either way. They can get some kind of cloak, and he can put a helmet on. Let's see what they do. I'm curious, because that feels a little funny, but as long as he covers up properly, I guess it's fine. He knelt down and carefully folded his elven cloak. It went into a surprisingly small roll. Elven. This he put into his pack that lay on the floor. Standing up, he slung it behind his back and put an orc helm on his head. There we go, the helmet, you need that. And cast another black cloak about his shoulders. There, he said, now we match, near enough. And now we must be off. I can't go all the way at a run, Sam, said Frodo with a very wry smile. I hope you made inquiries about inns along the road, or have you forgotten about food and drink? Save me, but so I had, said Sam. He whistled in dismay. Bless me, Mr. Frodo, but you've gone and made me that hungry and thirsty. I don't know when drop or morsel last passed my lip. I'd forgotten it, trying to find you. Well, let me think. Last time I looked, I'd got about enough of that whey bread and of what Captain Faramir gave us to keep me on my legs for a couple of weeks at a pinch. But if there's a drop left in my bottle, there's no more. That's not going to be enough for two, nohow. Don't orcs eat, and don't they drink? Or do they just live on foul air and poison? This is great. Somehow Frodo can muster some humor in all this. A wry smile. Hope you made inquiries about inns along the road. That's just great. I think Merry and Pippin were able to do this when they were, being captured by the Uruk-hai. That's a Hobbit thing, being able to find some levity here, much needed, and I respect it. And it also makes sense because it's making light of the situation, but also really practical. Like, hey, we do need food and drink, right? But I'm surprised how much food they had that Sam says a couple of weeks at a pinch, but they're out of water. Can you drink more of the orc? What do they call it? Their little drink, their liquor, their magic stuff. It seems like they gave that stuff to Frodo. I couldn't tell if it was part of a torture thing or if it actually is like a bit of a sustenance to maybe even help drain some of the poison. I'm not sure. I have to think back to what happened with Merry and Pippin. I feel like there was a little bit of a benefit to drinking it. Even though it sounds bad, it's probably better than nothing. And maybe it could even be good on some level. Oh, yeah, interesting. A British thing. Is that part of the British humor? I know British humor is a little dry, but is it also like making jokes at times when things are a little tense? I appreciate that. Sometimes, I don't know if it's an American thing. I think people always appreciate humor. Not the right way to say it. Not always appreciate it. But there are many positives, obviously, to well-timed jokes, even in hard times. But people tend to be a little more careful about that in the States. I feel like we tend to be a little cautious if things are heavy. You don't want to make someone uncomfortable, or humor's not always appreciated. It has to be done carefully. So I'm curious if that's a big British thing. Humor is always allowed as long as it's lifting spirits with a little class, a little taste. Yeah, because I don't know. Here it feels like, there's a time and a place, but maybe a little more picky than the British humor might be welcomed more often. No, they eat and drink, Sam. The shadow that bred them can only mock. It cannot make. Oh. Not real new things of its own. I don't think it gave life to the orcs. It only ruined them and twisted them. And if they are to live at all, they have to live like other creatures. Foul waters and foul meats they'll take if they can get no better, but not poison. They've fed me, and so I'm better off than you. There must be food and water somewhere in this place. But there's no time to look for them, said Sam. Well, it can't be that hidden. Well, things are a bit better than you think, said Frodo. I have had a bit of luck while you were away. Indeed, they did not take everything. I found my food bag among some rags on the floor. They've rummaged it, of course, but I guess they disliked the very look and smell of the lembas. That's great. The orcs don't like it, so they just like Gollum. They didn't even see any value in it. It's like, what is this garbage? Worse than Gollum did. Well, there it is. Worse than Gollum. It's scattered about, and some of it is trampled and broken, but I've gathered it together. It's not far short of what you've got, but they've taken Faramir's food, and they've slashed up my water bottle. Well, there's no more to be said, said Sam. We've got enough to start on, but the water's going to be a bad business. But come, Mr. Frodo, off we go, or a whole lake of it won't do us any good. Not till you've had a mouthful, Sam, said Frodo. I won't budge. Here, take this elven cake and drink that last drop of your bottle. The whole thing is quite hopeless. So it's no good worrying about tomorrow. It probably won't come. That's great. I mean, it's biblical, don't worry about tomorrow. It'll worry about itself, but it probably won't come. That's like great. Like, what's the point of saving up for your water? Just drink it, okay? And you know what? Sure, might as well. But stinks now that Frodo doesn't have a water bottle. So even if they found a water source, they need to carry Sam's around. Wow. I would love to read the Tolkien letters. Sounds great. I don't think I even knew that was a thing, unless it was mentioned and I forgot. But I'm going to read it. Don't you worry when the time is right. At last they started. Down the ladder they climbed, and then Sam took it and laid it in the passage beside the huddled body of the fallen orc. The stair was dark, but on the rooftop the glare of the mountain could still be seen. Though it was dying down now to a sullen red, they picked up 2 shields to complete their disguise and then went on. Down the great stairway they plodded. The high chamber of the turret behind, where they had met again, seemed almost homely. They were out in the open again now, and terror ran along the walls. All might be dead in the tower of Cirith Ungol, but it was steeped in fear and evil still. Yeah, it is. Man, J.R.R. sums this up so well. Like, in that moment, it feels like they immediately look back and they're like, that chamber in an orc tower actually feels pretty comfortable, all things considered. It's got light. We felt safe. We had a nice trapdoor and a ladder. And now we feel exposed and out there, and it's evil. And there's fear. Crazy that it could seem almost homely. At length they came to the door upon the outer court, and they halted. Even from where they stood, they felt the malice of the watchers beating on them. Black silent shapes on either side of the gate, through which the glare of Mordor dimly showed. As they threaded their way among the hideous bodies of the orcs, each step became more difficult. Before they even reached the archway, they were brought to a stand. To move an inch further was a pain and weariness to will and limb. Why? This is so weird. Because they're still in the tower courtyard, right? Frodo had no strength for such a battle. He sank to the ground. "I can't go on, Sam," he murmured. "I'm going to faint. I don't know what's come over me." "I do, Mr. Frodo. Hold up now. It's the gate. There's some devilry there, but I got through, and I'm going to get out. It can't be more dangerous than before. Now for it." Ah, yes. Oh, yes. Sam drew out the elven glass of Galadriel again, as if to do honor to his hardihood, and to grace with splendor his faithful brown hobbit hand that had done such deeds. The phial blazed forth suddenly, so that all the shadowy court was lit with a dazzling radiance like lightning, but it remained steady and did not pass. Oh man, this is like most powerful yet. I feel like I'll say the glass, the light, it feels like it can sense when it is needed most, and it just brings this hope at the perfect time. "Gilthoniel, Elbereth," Sam cried. For why he did not know, his thought sprang back suddenly to the elves in the Shire, and the song that drove away the Black Rider in the trees. "Aya Elinanan and Kalima." Oh, hey, that's what Frodo says in Shelob's Lair in the movies, which I remember because in the video game, they say that right before that level starts, and I died so many times that I kept hearing him say that in my head at the start of the level every time you respawn. But I forget exactly how he says it, but I remember, "And Kalima," cried Frodo once again behind him, and he's saying it here too. So they're like remembering the Elvish that they have to say as kind of like a chant. This is so great. "The will of the Watchers was broken with a suddenness, like the snapping of a cord, and Frodo and Sam stumbled forward. Then they ran through the gate and past the great seated figures with their glittering eyes." Do they still have glittering eyes? It says like the will of the Watchers was broken. Does that mean this is forever, or is this just for now like it was for Sam the first time? There was a crack. Ooh, the keystone of the arch crashed almost on their heels, and the wall above crumbled and fell in ruin. Only by a hair did they escape. A bell clanged, and from the watchers there went up a high and dreadful wail. Far up above, in the darkness, it was answered. Out of the black sky, there came dropping like a bolt, a winged shape, rending the clouds with a ghastly shriek. Oh my goodness. Sam wasn't kidding. He knew, and he was right. There's a rider up there. I was hoping the watchers would be crying into the night and there would be no answer. Immediately answered. That's crazy. Are they about to face down with it? Oh my goodness. A ring wraith right now? This is crazy. And then I'm trying to think of the timeline. Is it possible that this is the Witch King of Angmar before he goes to the battle in Pelennor Fields? Whoa. Well, I love that they were able to literally this elvish power broke the wall. The keystone broke. The thing crumbles. Epic. I was hoping that would be enough to kill the Watchers, but I guess they could get one final shriek out. I'm saying one final. Maybe they're literally not dead and they're going to keep doing their thing, but they got a shriek out, unfortunately. How are we going to get out of this one? And what kind of not in the movies activity is this? Ooh, is that what that means? Behold, brightest of stars. Oh yeah, that's great. Book versus movie, just saying. Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is crazy. What an end to the chapter, and what a crazy chapter, because sometimes I find that these chapters that cover similar content to the movies, in a lot of ways this is similar content, I guess. I'm picturing movie things, but somehow the way he painted this picture of the tower, it felt very different to me. Even though I guess it was similar, it just had this different energy to it. And it's this kind of thing that's why the orc interaction, the feelings of Sam, the emotion, the roller coaster, how much more touching it was between Sam and Frodo. And I think in the movies it was too. There was that moment. But this just felt so much more loving and so much more connection. And then I think the Watchers really did add another element to this, where it's like this, just that dark magic, whatever that is, that we don't see in the movie. So it just felt like more in the movie. This is just classic. Fight it out, duke it out. Hey, there's a battle. Hey, there's orc drama. Sam's running through. So having that is another part of what made this chapter have a whole new flavor than the movie. And using the light of Galadriel. Wait, what is this? Is this the light of Elendil? That's what it is, right? Crazy. Such a cool end. Oh, I can't read. Can't read farther. I'm not allowed. But I can read the name of the next chapter, The Land of Shadow. And I think I'm going to have to do a proper speculation at the start of the next chapter, which I forgot to do at this one. But at a first thought, Land of Shadow, we got to figure out what's going to happen with this ring wraith that is descending quickly. Can Frodo and Sam do a quick, hey, I'm just an orc, what's up? Hey, I don't know who broke that wall. And is that going to be enough? Or is this going to be so obvious that there's going to have to be a bit of a showdown here? Could there be? Could there be? No. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Could Sting kill a ring wraith? It's elven, but it was not made by the men who were in battle with the Witch King of Angmar before he became the Witch King. Or wait, or was he the Witch King before he became a ring wraith? These are big questions I don't know the answers to. Frodo's sword is an orc sword. That won't do any good. Their only hope to me would be if Galadriel's gift serves its third purpose, no, fourth. Is this the fourth time it's been used? And they could use the light again to make the Ringwraith go away. If they do that, wouldn't the Ringwraith report this? And wouldn't it draw the Eye of Sauron or attention there? Or am I thinking too magical again, and the Ringwraith is too busy and has a job to do, literally on its way to war, and this was just a final stop before heading off to Pelennor Fields? Wow, so many questions. But that's what I love about a whole new thing I didn't even know was going to be here. And QWERTY, yeah, I don't remember how much of this was in the movie, but I know parts of it certainly were in the original theatrical, and then it might be some extended scenes made it longer, but at least in the theatrical, you get Frodo at the top of the tower, and Sam comes up and, you know, stabs what now we know the orc's name is Snagga. But I don't know how much more is in there. Oh, yes, here we go. Erendil. Erendil is the name of the star that the file draws its light from. Oh, and we're going to get more info in the Silmarillion. Okay. So Erendil is the star. The file is kind of pulling light from an actual star in the sky. Okay. Right? Am I getting that right? Ooh, the hidden power of the ring helped Sam here. Interesting. Oh yeah, true. In the movies, they were not showing that Frodo was naked. I think they gave him some underwear or something. Probably a fair move. Little weird to picture that, but also I don't think orcs care so much about that stuff. So, you know, one of the Silmarils. Ooh, what are we talking here? Is this a Silmaril? Wait, aren't Silmarils stones? Never mind. I don't want to know. Okay, thank you for the confirmation there, Sylvia. The star. Okay, great. Oh, but you're seeing, Dennis says, seeing it as trapped light, not pulling light. So like captured light from the star. It's not like it is the star, just capturing some light, elven magic, redirecting that light. Okay. Something along those lines. Totally get it. And I'll get some more info in the future. Perceived the power and was frightened. Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of power perception in Ring and in Sting. Ring, Sting, and File. We got a lot going on. Pretty intense. Great chapter. And now I can go watch the videos that John did of this chapter because I have to like read the chapter and then do the videos. So it'll be great. Because this is a cool one. There's a lot going on. Thanks for watching, everyone. This was fun. Glad to be back in it. I don't know what the pace is going to look like. Now I'm off of paternity leave, and I have to be back at work, which I was going to say stinks. But hey, you know what? I had 12 weeks off. Got to celebrate that. But the timing is a little bit more tricky. Obviously today, Happy New Year, everyone. Starting the year off right, 2026. Lots more Lord of the Rings goodness up ahead. But I don't know how often I'll be able to record. On weekends? Sure. Sometimes in the evenings. Commuting time is now a thing, and I got to spend time with Calvin and Jen. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. But once a week still sounds like a good old pace. And now it's funny being in the final book. I'm like, oh no, I want to read more, but it's going to be sad when it's all over. You only can read it for the first time once, right? So I'm trying to soak it in too. So I'm not trying to overly rush and still enjoy it. But it's been great so far. So anyway, thanks everyone. I'll keep you posted, and I will try to give more notice on the next stream. I know this was a last minute one, only like 2 hours notice or whatever it was. So thanks for making the time. I know it's late for many of you. Yeah, anyway, I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Oh, shoot. I didn't even study up. It's been so long. No, I'm not even going to try. Numenor and look into the west and the what's beyond. Nope, I can't do it. I won't do it justice. Next time I'll brush up. I'll be better. Bye, guys.